So I'm going to show you how to color in your color wheel correctly using colored pencil techniques, and going to show you how to color in the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. So before we can even start coloring anything, we need to make sure that we label our colors of the color wheel. So we know what the primary colors are, which are red, blue, and yellow. And we know what the secondary colors are, which are orange, green, and violet. And the tertiary colors are the colors that are in between the primary and secondary colors. So if I start with red, next to that would be red, orange. And I'm just going to use abbreviations for these. After red, orange is orange. Then yellow, orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, green, blue, blue, violet, violet, and red, violet. So you can see that the color wheel is kind of like a puzzle. So everything has to be in the correct order and in their correct space. And if you have one of them out of order, it won't look correct and it won't be correct. So you need to make sure that you label everything first. So we're going to start by coloring the primary colors. And I'm just going to do the first one so that you can see what that looks like, the way we color that in with the colored pencils, because I'm not going to do the whole thing because that would just take a really long time. So I'm going to start with red. And when I start coloring with a colored pencil, I'm going to first outline the shape. And this is just the way that I color in things. If you color in a different way and it works for you, that is fine. But this is just how I make sure I color things in correctly. Then I'm going to color it in lightly in one direction. And when we color this in, we want to make sure we don't have any white spots. So I have white spots here and here. That is not exactly how we want this to look. So next, I'm going to color in an opposite direction and pushing down a little harder with my colored pencil, making sure to fill in all of the white spots. And I want to try to make this as bright and full as I can. So the harder you press down with your colored pencil, the brighter the color will be. So I'm going to overlap going in opposite directions several times. And the reason that we go in opposite directions with our pencil lines is because that kind of diminishes how much you can see the lines that you're using. And we don't want to see really obvious colored pencil lines. So that's looking pretty good. Make sure I fill in the edges really well. So that looks pretty good. So that's how I do red, and I'm going to do orange next. I'm going to do the same process. Outlining first, just so I have myself a border, and try not to go outside of the lines as much. Outlining helps me do that. And then go in one direction with the orange. Trying not to have too many white spots. And then go in the opposite direction. And do that again, just to make sure I have it as bright and as full as possible. So that looks pretty good. So next, I am going to do the tertiary color between red and orange, which is red-orange. And you're going to use these two colors to make it. So do not use the red-orange pencil in your colored pencil pack, because we want to make sure that we know how to make all of these. So I'm going to start with red, and I'm going to outline again. And go in one direction with the red colored pencil. And then I'm going to use orange and go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to go down the shape now. And I'm starting out with really light layers so that I can layer it more and more to make sure that I get the color correct. So I'm not coloring in really hard right away. I am making sure to layer it so the color is correct. So I'm going to use orange again. And each time that I use a color, I kind of press down a little bit harder to make sure that I have it filled in as much as I can. A little bit more, making sure that I have it pretty well in between red and orange. One more time over with orange. And that looks pretty good. So then what I would do is I would go all the way around and make sure that I have all of these filled in correctly, and using the colored pencils that are on either side of the tertiary to make the tertiary colors.